Hello guys, Patrick here, Agnaut Poker. Going to be jumping straight into some 16NL action today. We're going to be taking a very small break today from our micro stakes mini series, and we're going to be going back into other bits and bobs, random stakes, and then we're going to be following up with a theory video next, and then we're going to be going back into the micro stakes mini series. So I'm going to be doing 16NL today, so let's jump straight in. Just very quickly to anybody who's watching who hasn't subscribed, get subscribed right now before we start. Just jump straight in, get involved, join the team. And to everyone who has been commenting and liking and, you know, just joining the Discord and just showing any kind of like support, and, you know, it's really appreciated. So thank you guys for that. It's this channel's been a blast so far, and it's starting to get a little bit of traction, and we're getting a little bit bigger, and day by day we're putting a bit more work in, again a little bit bigger, and I'm just having a blast doing it. I'm really enjoying myself, so thank you so much to everyone who's been supporting. So 16NL, I've decided to put my old HUD back on for any data I may have randomly on any opponent from any stake, so that will give us a little bit more help, and when we're doing like these kind of play and explains, it will give us a bit more a little bit more to talk about. Perhaps if there's any kind of potential exploit we can use, like for example this dude here is a 13-10 with 3% 3-bet over a decent-ish sample, so we can already mark this person. So again, something like that. In our mini series where we're starting from 2NL with $50 bankroll, we have no information whatsoever, so everything's completely fresh. Whereas in these random play and explains, you know, fuck it, it's better to have a bit more information. Excuse me, to kind of break down and talk about with you guys. 8-3 off is a bit trashy. I don't think we're going to raise this. I think checking back's fine. Suppose we have a backdoor straight draw. If villain checks, we're just going to be potting this and barreling. If he bets, we're just going to be folding. Nice and easy. Don't think there's really anything to say here. In terms of strategy, I'm going to admit I never really did play 16NL, so I don't know if it plays extremely tight, extremely aggressive, a bit weird. Like, I don't really know, to tell you the truth. It's one of those ones where it's like I would expect the population to be probably quite tight. Anyway, so against a direct 3x, this is our 13-10. I think I'm just going to pitch the king-9 suited and probably never use it as a 3-bet bluff, even though I'd want to, potentially in theory. This guy's so tight. If he's got a 10% opening range in general, his UTG range is going to be something like 6-7%, I would probably guess, or less. I'm just not really interested in attacking that. I think that's too tight to attack. I don't think we're going to be doing very well, though. I think we're going to be getting carved, probably. But we can open the king jack offsuit. That'd be pretty decent. We followed my queen 8. We can make something work with our ace jack offsuit. Would primarily be calling with some 3-bet, I would think. Mark these guys. Okay. So these are still going to be the same premise as the micro stakes, maybe slightly less exaggerated, but there'll still be some spots where we're sort of really heavy on the exploits, and there'll be other cases where we're sort of really deviating. But interesting spot here, because I want to be 3-betting my king queen offsuit against the UTG. I don't mind that he's short because he's still got plenty of playability behind, and he's an unknown rec. The problem is I've got this guy with 17 bigs behind, so I feel like I'm conscious about 3-betting light when I've got this dude who's quite tight behind. So I think I'm going to let this go and avoid this situation. If I 3-bet and that guy jams, it just puts me in a really awful spot where it's kind of like I kind of have to call for 6 more, but I just don't like this situation at all. Especially if the other guy comes along and then we're in a kind of box where we're dominated, and ugh, not very fun. So I think I'll just avoid that spot altogether, to be honest. And we're checking this 5-4 offsuit. Against check back, we've got the absolute nut low, so we're just going to be overbetting and just blasting off this guy's complete air. When this guy checks back and snap calls, I couldn't tell you what he's got, to be honest. We blocked some heart combos, which isn't great. The guy can have a jack, which is now made a boat. He can have a shit ace, which is already a boat, which is a boat now. We can try and maybe make him fold a 10, I suppose. So I don't mind just betting this one and making him fold a 10. Maybe making him fold like King 7 of hearts, potentially, something like that. Let's do that, I suppose. If we can target a 10, I don't want to like bet one big blind though, so I think just a little bit bigger is better. But we still get called by king high, that's really sad. I think it's a nice bet size though. If he wants to call over bet with king high and then large size with king high, he's gonna win. And I'm gonna open my queen jack. I didn't see this guy limp. Sorry, should have made this a little bit bigger with the limper, but here's what it is, I suppose. That guy tanked for ages before calling, so oh, okay, we've got our limp re-raiser. That's really funny. I forgot people actually still do that in 2022. I will be isolating this this limper with the A7 and on the button. Get a call by a 26-11 over a decent sample. Got another nit. Don't really have any idea how to perceive this one big blind bet. I think just thinking about it, like, just with a kind of weakish top pair, I think it's just better to call here. I don't really want to turn man to bluff. I don't think folding makes any sense, obviously. I kind of think just calling is good and just playing in position. If this guy starts nuking turn, like say for example he goes like 10 to 15, I might consider folding with the stats that he's playing. Whereas if he's just got something like, I don't know, we're going to be chopping with some aces and then he's just got hands like king jack, king 10, then that's fine with me. Against a one big blind and then the min raise, I think I'm just going to be calling. I was going to say maybe I could exploit if he raised the river without the 7. Sorry, with the 7 coming for 2 pair, but I think just calling now makes sense. If this guy's got back the flush for one big blind, then he's going to win. But I think we're doing okay. There you go, he gets about the flush. But that's the thing, if this guy raises a normal size, we're just going to fold. We're not really looking to like kind of make big calls on the river. Could we have raised at any point before? To be honest with you, no. I don't think it would have been a great idea, because if this guy just decides to bet, like if he just calls ace queen and leads, if he calls like ace 9 or ace 8 and leads, you know, we're obviously losing to those. If he's got like a pair and a gut shot and wants to donk, then our hand just does all right by calling in position, I suppose. Nothing really else to say. I think we want to be sizing up a little bit on this board against the big blind, so let's bet a little bit bigger. With our top pair, top kicker as well, that's also nice. We'll be calling a raise, although it kind of sucks to have the ace of diamonds directly because it's going to block him having hands like ace 7 of diamonds, ace 5 of diamonds, ace 7, you know, etc, etc, and whatnot. But it is what it is. The river, the turn's not amazing, but it's not the worst because you're still going to be ahead of obviously worse jack X and some draws. But 8-9 gets there, 6-7 improves, 10-7 jack 7 improves, but I don't think that's going to stop us betting. I think because so many hands improve, but we still want to value bet, I'm going to go for about half pot here. I think that's just going to get the value from the king jacks, the queen jacks, and the flush draws. But then if we go really, really big and get raised, it's, you know, we're not going to get boxed. Basically, the 3 should only really improve, I suppose, 6-3 of diamonds, 4-5 of diamonds, so we can still probably get another street against something like king jack, queen jack. So I'm not just going to go mental. I think about 60% is enough to try and get called by king jack, queen jack, something like that. And again, if we get raised, we're just going to fold. I'm not going to consider calling. Even 16 and L, and is still just, to me, just considered another similar stake to micros, to like 2 and L, 5 and L. It's the same mentality. We need massive reasons to make big calls. If we think everybody has it most of the time, they probably do, to be fair. So, I'm folding my jack today. Not interested in that one. Ace 9, we can do some opening. Yep. So against a small blind call, because it's a recreational, all the strategy goes out the window and it's literally just the player in front of us. Against a recreational player, I just want to be doing more c-betting and barreling. That's literally what I want to be doing. I don't want to be like, checking my showdown values. No, because if I check here, this potato is going to bet his entire range on the turn and it's just going to make life extremely difficult. So that's what I'm going to do. We can actually technically get some pseudo value from worse flush draws, and then we can absolutely bin some of his like weaker floats. Thing is, like hands like 6-7 or pocket pairs are probably not going to fold on this turn. So I think I like checking this turn and then potentially bluffing some club rivers or an overcard. So the king is a really, really good card, for example, to use as a bluff. Because the only hand that this guy's range is improved on this king is king-queen. The only thing that worries me is the fact that this guy's potted. So that does scare me. But I still think we can potentially turn our hand into a bluff. But you know what? No. I'm not going to do it. I kind of changed my mind there. I wanted to use this king as a bluff. But when this guy leads pot and we block flush draws, I actually think it's better not to use as a bluff against that lead. Had villain checked, I think we would have absolutely bluffed. But I think against that like pot lead, when we block that with a lot of the clubs, it's probably just very, very nutted and very value heavy. That's subjective, of course, but I changed my mind about 3 times there, but I think that would have been a bad spot to bluff versus donk or river bet, sorry. Versus check, I like it, I think, but versus river lead, sorry for that size, I think it's probably better to fold. I'm messing around with sizes here. I don't honestly know what when you start going like 16 and 25, as long as we're not min opening, I suppose is probably the best. So versus 3-bet, like if I was playing like again 2-0, 5-0, I'm not like with the mini series, I'm not even considering having 4 bets and mostly just folds, to be honest. I got no information on this guy bot and I've rolled 14, so I am just going to fold, but I can absolutely start considering having like 4 bets and calls with this type of hand class. So these would be some hands that we would consider doing it with. I rolled a 14 there, so I'm just going to fold, but if I wanted to, that actually would have been a good hand candidate to have continued in a variety of different ways. So with a hand like 4-5 suited in the cutoff, for example, it's not really something I want to play. I'd have to roll extremely high if I wanted to continue either as a call or a raise with this one, because they just don't perform well as calls here, especially against a really large open. Excuse me. Or a 3-bet even, but very often at all. It would just be a pretty easy fold, to be honest. And then interesting spots, so when you've got like the pocket pairs, so like a hand like pocket sixes again, I've actually rolled 98, so I am going to 3-bet, but most of the time this hand class wouldn't really be that great in terms of 3-betting. I'm going to go 6.5 because this guy's only got 64 bigs. Again though, like I don't think calling's like terrible, like exploitatively, but you know, it is what it is. So the UTG, in theory, is going to have a decent amount of queens and ace-queen. Some of the time, he's supposed to be 4-betting a bunch, but he will have some. He will have some suited ace-queen as well. He's going to have 9s. He's going to have king. I don't think we need to go massive if we're going to bet. However, the board is a little bit wetter, or more wetter, whatever the most English appropriate way of saying it is. So I don't think betting micro is going to work. I think maybe something a little bit more closer to like a third pot or towards half might be quite nice. If the board didn't have a flush draw on it, I might be a little bit more inclined to go a little bit smaller. This feels like a very passive stake. I always used to think this stake was really volatile, but I actually think it's just very passive, to be honest. But as is all the stakes, to be honest, they're not that much different. I think the kind of like regs and like, I don't mean this in an entitled or nasty way, but I'm just saying the weaker regs and the people in the populations just tend to be the same types of players. Like it tends to be the same kind of like dribbly kind of have it players, bluff some like c-bet and barrel, but don't really have the big bluffs or the big calls type of regs. So it's like, it's just the same kind of thing going round and round. I think you have to get to 100 plus before you start encountering people who kind of play the game a bit more into that sort of 4-bet field or like really aggressive way post-flop, without overdoing it. Sevens here, I think we could call this some of the time. I'm debating whether or not to call this. I think, to be honest, no, I think actually sevens I'd probably be folding quite often actually against this squeeze. We have some better hands to be calling against that size, and we've got the guy behind as well, so not the greatest, I suppose. Folding the queen seven. And the six deuce. And the six tray. And the 10-6. Let me know if you guys would prefer two tables over one. It's interesting because I feel like with one table, I can sit here and, for better or worse, talk about some strategy or talk about some thought processes, maybe some exploits, whatever we want to do and how we want to do it. With two tables, we can still do that, but sometimes there's situations where multiple hands come up together, right? So it's like, it's not easy to explain in a decent amount of detail. But sometimes with one table, it could be a bit like this, where it could just be very stale and boring. And, you know, I appreciate that it may not be the most interesting to watch. So we'll see how we do, I suppose. Jack 9, no heart here. I think I want to be probably just barreling. I think, again, 16 and L is just, I think I'm just incentivized to just do, like, always resort to the more, like, aggressive c-betting style, like probing style, rather than being like, my range doesn't want to bet here. Well, the thing is, against people who just kind of don't play the game properly or don't think about it in a way that makes any sense, you're more inclined to just c-bet and attack them, make them fold, as they're not going to call or raise you very correctly, instead of just checking and just getting bluffed, really, because they're just going to, and you're just going to be put in really tough spots unnecessarily. So kind of similar prospect to the 2 and L, 5 and L theory, where you're just kind of c-betting very, very high frequency. It's not all the time, but high frequency, rather than taking any kind of checking lines. Only difference being is when you've got marginal made showdown, like ace 4 suited here is just doing really well against a lot of big blinds defense range, but like, I like having this prioritized as a check almost always to induce mistakes by villain, rather than having these as bets. So like, if this guy's got value, which they a lot of the time do, we just control the pot size, and then the times he just wants to stab and bluff into us, it's really good for us. So like, checking back the flop, call, you know, is just really, really good. Like here, for example, like Jack 10, he played that well. Like, I think his size, I think maybe he could have upsized a bit, like do some more overbetting. But he, you know, he identified he's got the worst hand. He knows the population probably tends to check more marginal, weak hands that call one and fold, or just fold directly. So, you know, having that marginal made hand prioritized as a check probably makes more money playing it softly than it does to be considering any type of range, or being like, oh, do I need to roll a c-bet or check? Well, you know, fuck that. Let's just check and let him bluff, or control against value sizes. Can be raising the ace 10. We are a little bit deeper, so I'm going to go more of a theoretical side. I'm going to go 12 rather than, like, you know, 10 or so that we were doing at the mini series, like micro 2 and L, 5 and L micros. Pocket kings, that's a good hand. Hopefully the recreation opens under the gun, that'd be really nice. They don't. Hopefully recreational 3 bets in the big blinds. That would be nice. He does, excellent. So he's got 40 big, so he's got 52, 53 bigs combined. So do I just want to 4-bet this, or do I want to shove? I think we're just going to 4-bet. If he folds, I don't mind. He's got 40 odd bigs, hasn't he? I was debating size rather than do we 4-bet. I was thinking about just jamming potentially, but you know, 4-bet's fine probably as well. It's quite interesting to see a recreational 3-bet in the big blind versus hijack and then fold. It's actually quite interesting. One of the rare wrecks who may just be 3-bet bluffing, to be fair, and then folding 4-bet. Poker fours we can open some of the time. I think because we've got 3 recreationals in the pool, I think I will be opening this one. I guess we're probably a little bit disincentivized maybe because the blinds have got shorter stacks, but fuck it. Making a video, aren't we? So let's do it. If we're going to open the smaller pocket pairs some of the time, we would be calling 3-bets in theory with them. I think also a hand like the low pocket pairs, like I don't mind being a bit more inclined to call against the recreationals because the recs just tend to be so value heavy that these like small and medium pairs, especially a little bit deeper, perform better. So, you know, that's fine. Even if it's a slightly larger size, if I feel like if I flop a 4 against most of his value range, which is going to be a lot of like aces, kings, queens, jacks, 10s, ace, king, ace, queen, then I think we do pretty well most of the time. More so than against a reg. Against one big blind, why do I just have the feeling like I'm against queens full or quad 10s? I'm going to disclaim that now. I think this guy's got quads or a boat. He could have ace king, but, you know, I'm not folding, obviously, for one big blind, but I think this guy has a death hand, or he's got ace king. Can I get one big blind out of ace king? That's my question. You know what? Let's play it. Let's do it. I want my one big blind against ace king. That's what I want. I want my one big blind against ace king. Yes, I got it as well. Let's have a little look. Oh, I had ace 8. That guy had ace 8 offsuit. Well, we got my one big blind. I'll consider that a victory. Rudboy 32. I remember this guy. It's funny because it's like I feel like an old man, but it's just like look at like the last few years. Like I was a losing player for a long time, right? Like put my hand up like for a long time, but it's just like from like 5, 6, maybe 7 years ago, like 2015 kind of time. I know like guys like this and a few others. Like if you're watching, yeah, I don't want to shit on you, but I'm just saying it's like it's interesting seeing the same old faces actually. 4 ways. I don't actually mind checking on a board this dry with King Jack. I don't mind betting it. I don't really mind. Let's check this time. I think both are fine in these pools. Against pot, I'm already just fucking hating life. This guy's an 18, 12, 2 over a good sample. 3% 3-bet. Jesus Christ. Although he's only so this is going to be a massive hand, or it's going to be a total bluff from this guy's stats, because he's c-betting flops and turns full frequency. He's betting the rivers a lot, and he's not winning on showdown very often. Oh, sigh. I don't think we get to fold. I mean, okay, I hit a jack, but I don't even know if that's enough for me to be happy about this, because this guy's kind of representing a set or a bluff. I'm not folding now, but like if I was playing 2-L, and I had this guy tagged as a death nit, I might just never call. It sounds silly, right? Gonna call, and then we're gonna call the river, obviously, but I mean, we have the king of diamonds as well, right? So we block some flushes, but, you know. How terrible does it sound? Like I'm sitting here with, like, top pair, checking deceptively, facing a bet, and then a double barrel with top 2, and I'm sitting here complaining like a fucking nit. Like, excuse my language, but it's just true. Like, how sad is the way that the games on PokerStars and Micro and No Stakes play, that I'm literally sitting here with top of range and going, oh, sigh, do I have to call here with like really, really good hands, you know? This guy had ace king. Holy fuck. He had ace king. I was dead. I was actually dead on the flop. Oh my god. This guy's made the best river check back of all time, by the way. Oh my god. So I'm actually right. I was ranting and I was right. I didn't want to call the flop and I was actually beat, and I had to hit a miracle turn card. Fucking hell. Like, this game is like, oh, this is why I hate these stakes. This is why I hate stars. The guy had ace king, man. Like, I get it. Like, I'm telling you to flat ace king sometimes. But I'm just saying, it checks round. Guy bets pot. Guy just has it. Like, come on, man. Someone must bluff sometime. There must be people who bluff in this universe, apart from the Jack 10 dude. I'm gonna sit here and rant for forever, and, you know, I apologize. I really want to. I mean, my range murders this board. I don't know. I mean, let's just bet small and check turns. Let's just do that. Let's just do that. Let's just do that. I had mostly want to check, so we're going to check. That's a pretty interesting river card. Thing is, so we lose to Jack 10 and King Jack. We lose to clubs. We lose to Queen X. We lose to Ace X. I can maybe make an Ace X or a Jack X fold on this river, repping a flush, a straight, a boat. So I actually don't think eights is ever going to win. So if I can fold out King Jack or like 10 Jack or like a marginal ace, then let's do that. So I'm going to overbet this and attack that part of his range. If this guy's got a queen, I don't think a Rex ever folding. I think he's probably just going to go, whatever, cool, fine. If he's got a flush, don't expect that to fold. If he's got a straight, don't expect that to fold. But I don't think eights is ever going to win there. So, especially when he actually gives me the option to check back. So, that's why I want to probably bet there. I'm such an old boy coffee, man. I'm such a nit now. Just a snake bit nit. Although with good cause. This 16 and out pool seems pretty decent, by the way. Apart from the egregious nittery, but you get that in any stake. There's quite a lot of like people putting money in, like cold calling, and there's quite a decent amount of shorter stacks and wrecks. So 16 and out, like, you know, if you're playing between 10 and 25 and so on, 16 is probably pretty decent. Although there do seem to be a few people who at least know what they're doing to some extent. Let's open up our ace 10 suited. I sound proper entitled today, I apologise. I don't think I slept well, I'm a bit groggy and miserable. Queen 5 suited, I think I'm just going to fold. Again, quick shout out to everyone. If you're not subscribed and you like the content, please go and subscribe right now. Go and click that subscribe button, click the bell icon, chuck a thumbs up, a like, and at the end, please leave a comment. Like, I don't even mean just like, ooh, algorithm, clickbait, you know. It really just, to me, it really makes me feel good knowing that there's people there that are liking, commenting, subscribing. If you don't like the content, you know, also please leave your comments and, you know, tell me what you want to see. You know, if you want me to shut the hell up, tell me. If you want me to talk more, tell me. If you want me to be playing different stakes and different games, you know, talk to me. Tell me what you want to see. And also, if you think I'm just absolute garbage, yeah, let me know. I rolled a 95, so I'm going to open the 7-8 suited here. We wouldn't really be opening these like sort of lower to medium suited connectors that often in the early and mid positions, depending on what our rolls are, of course. But they don't really do that well. They don't really perform super well. And folding ace 10 against the hijack open. I think something perhaps like more like ace jack off and above would be better to 3-bet there. I think ace 10's a little bit loose. King 10. I'm debating whether to go like aggressive with this one. I don't know. I don't think I'm ever supposed to, but I want to. No, I'm not going to do it. I want to. I really do, but I didn't. I do wonder whether I can absolutely just run people over by just 3-betting and just blasting everything, or whether it's better to just be a little bit more controlled. I guess we'll have to figure out the pool. King 8 suited, however, that's an open. We'll be folding to 3-bet, won't be 4-betting. I don't think I'll be going to be doing many aggressive 4-betting at these stakes either. I think people's 3-bets are too value heavy and then just fold to 4-bet. Won't be heavy enough, and I won't need to have any kind of proper range, so probably only going to be really kind of like quite honest. And I think so will most of the population. Gonna sit out next big blind. And we're going to be defending the King 9 suited. That's cool. Was debating whether to 3-bet, but I don't think actually no. I think this would have been a really shitty hand to 3-bet. I think these kind of like worst King X are better 3-bets, and then these kind of like marginal to medium ones like King 7, King 8, King 9 perform way better as calls than anything at all. I'm just going to fold against this slightly larger size. Excuse me, sorry, I was looking at Facebook there for a second. Ace Queen, let's open that one up. Six three deuce. I think we're going to be probably doing a lot of checking. I think this is again one of those situations where I would actually prefer to kind of follow a bit more of a strategic approach and just kind of check and just continue as from there. I don't think this is a great spot to go ahead and see bet. King is really good for my attacking range, but we are quite wide. Blind on blind, and ace queen is plenty good to be doing a decent amount of checking as well. So let's go ahead and do that. Villain can absolutely bet some bluffs, semi-bluffs, and just bet whenever. Also probably just anything because I've checked. So we'll see how we go. And then the river, I think again, I'm just checking here. I don't think I really generate any value from anything. I'm probably going to be folding if this guy bets the river because he's decided. This is more, I think, an exploitative micro stakes thing, but because this guy's not bet the flop or turn, he's more likely most of the time to be a little bit more honest about then bluffing rivers. So for example, like because the populations love betting when you check to them with nothing, and then checking and controlling with their like weaker marginal range, and then value betting just default with their best hand straight away. I think it's just better like just keep it very, very simple and not really kind of deviate too hard in those type of situations to when you're gonna like, you know, go, oh, I missed the board, I'm gonna bet. Well, hang on, you know, the blinds are very wide. You've got a good hand that's absolutely just winning most of the time. It's probably not the best spot to just go ahead and see bet all the time, like we say we do most of the time. Anyway, thank you so much. Again, please like, subscribe, leave your comments, help join the support the channel. Next video, we're going to be doing a theory video where I'm going to be doing some, not so much a part 3 of our exploit rants, but more of some concepts. Like we're going to be doing some c-betting concepts. We're going to be looking at some 3-bet positioning concepts, a few bits and bobs. And we're going to see what we can do strategically and also with some exploits where we can deviate and do some shenanigans. So like, subscribe. As always, the details of my Twitch and Discord will be in the description and below. Please have a look at those, check them out. Come join the community. We welcome you. So, as always, thank you so much. Have a lovely evening, and I will see you in the next one.